Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of the Rose Gold Show. Now, if you were with us last week, then you know that formerly known as Heartbreak Hill Podcast, the Rose Gold Show has been alive and effective. And this show is generally about bringing cultural awareness to the culture. Okay. Each episode is going to start off with a question, and then the aim of the show is to answer that question. For today's topic, the question is: can a man with multiple baby mothers, with multiple children by multiple baby mothers, make a good partner? Stick around, keep it locked to find out. Welcome. If you are just now getting started here with us today, today's question for the Rose Gold Show is: can a man with multiple children, with multiple baby mothers, make a good partner? Now, before we dive into Daily De Niro and before we dive into the episode, I would like to present to you some very, I think, interesting Black father stats. Here are some statistics. These come from everywhere from the World Health Organization. This information is from Census Bureaus, and then Scholastica is actually the last kind of source where these stats come from. But here are some interesting stats about Black fathers in the United States. Okay, this is strictly Black American fathers in the United States. Okay, in 2023, approximately 1.8 million Black families were led by a single Black father. Now, this is a significant increase from from 1990 to right now. There has been an increase in the number of families that are being led and housed by a single Black father. So I thought that was interesting. A lot of times you don't hear these types of things in the news. Actually, there are still statistics, there are still propaganda around here that state that Black men do not take care of their families and that they actually abandon their families. These statistics are actually showing that that is not true. So statistic number one: the number of families, Black families in the United States, has increased the amount of Black fathers that lead those families. So next, I think important stat is that the number of homes where Black fathers are absent is at its lowest since 1973. So let me just tell you a little bit about that a little bit about what that means. So that means that since 1973, there has been a decrease, in how many families, Black families, are missing Black fathers. Okay, so from 1973 now, that number has gone down, which is actually a good thing. Okay, last and final stat that I think is very important to share. There's two more. Next stat is Black fathers that do live with their children. So the Black fathers that are in the home are more engaged in daily child care, which includes bathing, diapering, dressing, eating meals, helping with homework. Black fathers are more engaged than their white or Hispanic counterparts. Okay, so what that means is that when Black fathers are present in the home, which we see based on the numbers has increased, the presence of Black fathers has increased. And with that, with Black fathers being in the home, they are more attentive to the day-to-day needs of their children compared to white men or Hispanic men that are inside of their homes. Okay, and last but not least, okay, and part of the reason that presented our question for today is that there's a challenge. There is still a challenge in the Black community when it comes to Black fathers. And that challenge is that still Even with the stats I told you about Black fathers, there's been an increase in families that are being held down by single Black fathers. There has been an increase in the Black father presence in the home since 1973, right? There has been an increase. There still is a gap. And that gap is that Black men at a rate of about 44% live apart from their children compared to white fathers, which is at about 21%. So about 21% of the time, white dads are not in the home. And then about 44% of the time, Black fathers are not in the home. Now, this has nothing to do with, financial caring for the child, physically, meeting with the child. This is just simply having the presence. There is still a gap. Okay. Well, I thought that was significant. I think that it is important to set the stage that while Black men are doing better in terms of their presence, we still have an epidemic in our communities where we are making families, but these families are not staying together. I have a very, very, very special guest who can give a male, not just a male, a Black male, a king perspective on this. But before I get our guest in, before I give you guys the treat, I would like to share with you Daily De Niro. For those of you who do not know, Daily De Niro is a segment of the show where I am providing you money, financial gain for both your mind, your body, and your soul. Keep it straight. All right. Part of Daily De Niro is our vocabulary section. Those of you who don't know, this started when I wanted to stop cussing while being on air. I began to research words that I thought could help me with my vocabulary and stop cussing. And I thought that I've got a very interesting and positive response from adding these new words to the show. So I have continued it on into this new show, The Rose Gold Show, with the vocab kicking off Daily De Niro. So the word for this week is disavow. Okay, it is a verb, which means it is something that you do. And disavow means to deny any responsibility or support for something or someone. Okay, he planned to disavow the relationship after he got what he wanted. He planned to disavow the child after the child was born. Okay, that is the word of the week, disavow. Make sure to use it in a sentence this week. Now, for Daily De Niro, the meat and potatoes of this subject, did you know that screen time can actually slow down learning in young children? There was a study done by a psychologist named Sarah Cucker. She's out of Southern Methodist University in Dallas. And what they found is that children, when learning things like shapes, learning things like colors, learning things like different values of fruit and vegetables, they learn that just visually watching it on a tablet or a screen did not help the child learn. And what Sarah found during her study was that children actually learn better. The reason why screen time kind of dulls that learning ability is because children actually need to touch. They need to feel physical objects in order for that part of their brain to truly learn. So when a child is learning about what a banana is, okay, it helps when the child has the physical banana versus a child seeing a banana on the screen. Same thing when it comes to colors, same thing when it comes to shapes. You can't technically feel a shape, but there are objects around that can take the form of the shapes where the child learns better. Okay, so that's just something for you to keep in your back pocket. Okay, Daily De Niro is over and out. And now, as I get ready to introduce our guest, I want to remind you the segment or the question for this show is: can a man with multiple children by multiple women still make a good partner? And who I am bringing to the stage right now is I am bringing Big Smash to the stage as the host of I'll Explain All This Later podcast. You know, Big Smash is not just a relentless hustler. He's a dedicated father and a professional shit talker. I can vouch for that myself. Big Smash has actually been in the podcasting / radio world since 2018. He has over 400 episodes. And if you tune into his podcast, which airs on Mondays, you'll see that he is not afraid to talk about these sort of topics, right? These topics, whether it comes from a man perspective, a female perspective, he is not afraid to shy away and speak about these things. But I want to say one thing before I formally bring him in and on and let him speak for himself. It was very strategic and specific why the show decided to reach out to have Smash on the show. Okay. And I'll let him talk for himself in just a second. But I needed you guys to know that I didn't just pick a random person in the podcast or radio world to have on the show, right? There's plenty of people that I could have chosen. I know a lot of men who have more than one child by more than one mother. But Big Smash does not fit the normal mold of a man who has multiple children with multiple women. For one, he takes care of all of them, right? So automatically when we think about a man with multiple children and multiple baby mothers, it's easy to write him off as somebody who doesn't take care of his children. He takes care of his children. Not only that, Smash is among high earning men. A lot of people don't know how successful he really is in terms of not just the radio and podcasting world, but also in the world of tech. He's actually very, very tech savvy, has a very big space in the tech world. Connection wise, he would be among the men that are affluent. My first, I want to say radio gig with WGCI, I got that through somebody that Smash had introduced me to. You know what I mean? So this is not just your run-of-the-mill man who's out here making kids with children, different mothers, and not taking care of them. I strategically chose somebody who beats all of that stereotypes, but still can speak from the perspective as a Black man in America who has multiple children by multiple women, and how he navigates that in terms of being a good partner. Big Smash, hello.
What it is.
Thank you so much. I'm so glad to have you here. Thank you so much for coming on to the Rose Gold Show. I know you are a busy man, and I am forever grateful for your presence. How you doing today?
Always. I'm chilling.
You chilling?
I ain't got no complaints, man. I'm feeling good. I'm good. I think sometimes just the world doesn't understand me, but they gonna get used to it though.
That's right.
They ain't got a choice because I ain't going nowhere. So they gonna figure it out eventually.
They don't have a choice because you ain't going nowhere, so they're gonna have to figure it out. I'm not mad at it. And I love it. So just kicking it off, getting right into it. Smash, I want you to tell me and the world, tell me, how many children do you have? How many are boys? How many are girls?
I have 8 children. 6 boys, 2 girls. And then they navigate to me so well. So I got a lot of kids, but that I like mine, I got 8.
Right.
Bro.
You got 8 biological children.
Yeah. I'm on my 5th set of step kids. So we good on that front too.
I love it. No, I love that because that's actually part of my question lineup is how you actually, as a man with multiple children by multiple women, how do you navigate stepchildren? So we're gonna get there. We definitely gonna get there for sure. But I want to start off. So 8 children total, 6 boys, 2 girls, and how many mothers to the 8 children? 5 total. And the woman who has the most children by you, how many does she, or what's the most that you have by one woman?
3.
3 by 1. And then the rest of them, is it just 1, 1, and 1?
No, I have 3 by 1, 2 by 1, and then the rest are just 1.
Gotcha. Okay. Now, as I already told the audience, you have different spaces, different streams of income, you're tech savvy, you have all of these things going on. Tell me about when you had your first child. How old were you, and what was that experience like in terms
20.
of? Oh, go ahead.
I was 20 years old when I had my first son. I was
20 years old.
I was ripping and running the streets at that time. So the funny part about that is my child's mother, it was supposed to have been just like a summer fling type of thing. Because I knew she was going off to school. So I didn't intend for it to go the way that it went. But once the summer was over with, and because we had been together, but we just knew at the end of the summer, when you leave, this shit over with.
Mm-hmm.
And so um she went off to school and then come down the line and let me know that she was pregnant. So at 20 years old, I knew my life was about to change. And it did, because having a child made me get out the street.
Mm-hmm.
It made me stop doing the things that I was doing.
Mm-hmm.
And it made me adapt. So I changed everything that I was doing for that moment, because it was important. It was special.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So when children played a part in it, I had did everything I could, because I knew the kind of upbringing that I had.
Mm-hmm.
And I was scared because I had never had this experience before. So it was different. It was a different feeling. It was scary.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I knew that there was no way in hell I was going to have a child come on this earth and go up the way that I did.
Mm-hmm.
So the growth had to be there. The change had to be there. The streets could wait, because at the end of the day, I had a child that was coming in this world, and I had to be more prepared for it. So, and we talking just doing whatever, running
Mm-hmm.
around with different women, running around with the wrong crowd, taking things from people that was not mine, in and out of juvenile facilities, and trying to avoid going to adult facilities.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it was a lot. So once I had my first kid, oh man, I slowed down. I did.
Mm-hmm.
I did.
Makes
I I,
sense.
I knew growth. I knew growth was key.
Mm-hmm.
So I went and got a 9 to 5. I went in, hustled, grinded. I did things the right way, because I knew there was a bigger purpose. You
Right.
see,
Bigger.
yeah, I knew it was a bigger purpose in life. And um I had to, because now I had a family. So
Mm-hmm.
it was definitely time to muster up everything that I had, that I was out here doing, and do something positive. Because I'm not gonna lie, I say this all the time. My son saved my life.
Mm-hmm.
Because I felt like if he hadn't came into my life the when he did, I probably wouldn't even be sitting here right now. That's
Mm-hmm.
how much trouble that I was in these streets. That's how much mischief we was out here doing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a beautiful feeling when you can look back and you can see things. My son just graduated from high school. So
Woo!
um
Congratulations to him.
to see him do something that I didn't do, because I didn't graduate. I got my GED, but I didn't get a chance to walk across no
Right.
stage and nothing like that. So to see him do that, that is what being a parent was all about. They're having those moments, watching him go off to prom, and stuff that I didn't get a chance to do. It's beautiful when I can see them do it, and now I get to see it 7, 8, 9, 10 more times over, because that is what it's about. Like, you want your children to be better than you, and
That's right.
to see his progress, to see his growth. The kid is awesome. Never gave me no problems, never gave his mama no problems. Honor roll student,
Wow.
ain't on drugs, ain't out here in the street. He a
Wow.
nerd. I love it. I love it. He
Wonderful.
will pick a book and a video game over being out here doing dumb ish any day of the week. And you love that for him. You love when you can send your children off in the world and you feel good, like, yeah, they gonna be okay. I ain't gotta hover
Mm-hmm.
around over them
Right.
and all that. So you feel good about these things. And then for me, like I said, my pops was around, but my pops wasn't around. So the tough love and all that I had learned in life, I'm like, yo, he'll never experience that, because as long as he do what he's supposed to do, we good.
Right. Now let me ask you this. So this is your first son. right? He's just graduated high school. You were 20 at the time that you had him. And I'm it's wonderful to hear that he is definitely stepping over barriers, doing great in school. All of that is extremely important. Shout out to you and your family. Now, when you had because you started off by saying, and I think this is important to mention too, as we get into how a man ends up with multiple baby mothers. I think this question is important to lead up to that. And my question to you is, you told me at first that this is a summer fling, right? This is something that, it's a summer fling.
Yeah.
When you found out that she was pregnant, did your feelings toward her change in any way?
No. I think what it was, honestly, I'm not gonna lie, I really genuinely cared about her and loved her, even more so than now. You finna bring a kid of mine into this world. But at that time, I knew, like, okay, I'm gonna be a good father, but I don't know if I'm gonna be good in this relationship. I don't know that.
That is a powerful distinction, and I'm so glad that you brought that up. Because that's my next question.
I knew, like, I'm gonna be the dopest father I could be. But now, as far as being a man or in a relationship or a boyfriend or whatever the case was, I can't guarantee that. And I think
go ahead. I'm sorry. You think
I think that's what drove us apart because that's what she wanted. She wanted me to be both, be a good man and be a good father. And just at that time, at 20 years old, I couldn't guarantee that I was going to be that. So in the end, I had to let her go. I had to let her go because she was too good of a person. You know what I'm saying? You don't, as a man, you don't want to.
Deserved,
you don't want to drag somebody down and have them wasting their time knowing that you ain't gonna be on the up and up with them. So I'd rather let you go, and and that was a struggle because letting her go meant let you go to school, do your thing, not be around no other dude. Cause now, I went to jail a lot fighting boyfriends and stuff that came after me. Like, we cool. You can get out there and live your life, but we ain't ready to see other dudes in the picture just yet, type of thing. So that's the type of time I was on. And it took me a while to get over that because, again, a lot of dudes, they think once they have a child, they in there with the mama forever. Like, I'm the big dog of this house still.
Even if we're not together.
Until that woman has a baby by another dude, and now it's like, oh, this don't. I mean, now I still was here first. Hey, listen, that was my go-to. Like, I got the thing where I'm either the first child's father or the last.
Okay.
It was never gonna be in between. I was either the first or the last. After me, you ain't having no more. And before me, I ain't really gravitate to you like that. You know what I'm saying? So with her not having children, got a good head on the shoulders, things like that. Oh yeah, I'm instantly attracted. And so once we got that out the way, we became the best of friends. Like, that's one of my best friends. Like, for real. Like,
right.
It started off rocky after the separation because, but we got to the point we took the feelings out of it and just said, we're going to be parents.
Okay.
And go ahead.
I want to ask you this because I think it's important. And I want to make sure that we have time to discuss some of the other elements in terms of your dating life, right? So tell me, what parts of you were able to be a father? What qualities did you have at 20 that allowed you to be a father? And what qualities did you not have at 20 that would have made you a good partner?
All right, so as far as being a father, you hear that instinct of survival, like
Okay.
something that I didn't. I was taking care of myself from the age of 14 all the way up.
Mm-hmm.
When I say that, I mean I was feeding myself, um, clothing myself, breaking in people's houses and stuff, doing anything to survive. So that instinct of survival was there.
Okay.
And the I told you, the way that I was came up, my children was never gonna feel that where they was feeling unloved or where they felt they had to fight for everything on their own or they had to get out here and survive and do all that. So I think the protector, the provider, the lover, those are the things that prepared me for fatherhood because
Gotcha.
those are the things that I did not get, and being that my dad, he's a southerner, so they rough, they tough, they what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying, they will make you work for everything that you got, and that was a quality that I knew, like, just because I'm a father don't mean it's relaxed time. Like, you
Mm-hmm.
still got a lot of work and a lot of training and a lot of love and a lot of showing and a lot of
Mm-hmm.
teaching. So the patience for that was another quality. I had the patience for it because I
Okay.
had been through it.
Gotcha.
And all of those things there, the protect, the divide, and the leadership, the patience, all of those things, I did not have those things to be a good partner at 20 years old. I was
Mm.
the complete opposite. You don't do what I want you to do, I'm gone. You talk to me in no kind of way, I'm gone. There's a woman out here that's thicker than you, I'm gone. You don't cook, I'm gone. You ain't putting out, I'm gone. Like, I didn't have the
Mm-hmm.
patience or the understanding to know what protection and leadership and guidance and all that stuff was, because at the end of the day, I was hustling. I wasn't looking for
Right.
love. I was hustling. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna
You
get
were
me.
surviving. You was in
Yeah,
survival mode.
yeah. So when the whole family aspect came in,
Mm-hmm.
I was just like, all right, cool. But crazy because I ended up having uh two more kids 4 years later, a
Okay.
month apart.
So two girls were pregnant at the same time.
Two girls were pregnant at the same time.
So let me stop you real quick because we're
Mm,
getting now into the meat and potatoes of the show.
for
So
sure.
how does a man transition
Whew.
to
Uh,
one? You have one child at 20. This is about 4 years later, and now
mm,
there's two girls that are pregnant. So obviously you were dealing with them at the same time.
yeah.
What is the transition in your mind that goes? I now have two women pregnant, and they're both due soon, right? Or they're both
Mm,
due around the same time.
mm,
Tell me what that was like for the mothers of the children and what that was like to you, because now you at this point you now have multiple baby mothers. Like
yeah.
it's the total of three at this point, and you're
Um,
about 24 years old. Tell me what that was like.
I think for me, I was in heaven. I think for
Tell me
them,
why.
they was in hell because all right, so and I again, I ain't bragging or nothing like that. I don't want people to think that, but at that time I was in heaven. I had two women that, were stable. They had their own places. They really didn't need my money or nothing like that. They could cook. They so I'm at one of them house in the daytime, one of them house at night. I'm living a life. I'm relaxing. I got two women that will go above and beyond for me, and neither one of them knew about each other.
Mm.
So I was on top of the world at that point. And until they found out about each other. And they only found out because my
It's the
sister snitched
sister.
on me, you
Them
know.
Chicago sisters gonna tell it all. Let me tell
Yeah,
y'all something. I'm a
yeah,
Chicago. Listen, I'm born in Georgia, but I'm raised in Chicago. That Chicago sister gonna tell. I tell my
yeah.
brothers all the time: don't cheat around me. Don't do nothing. I'm gonna let
Facts.
you go ahead and finish.
I was on the phone call talking to one of them. My sister overheard. So she went off and told the other one. So that's how the whole situation came about. But
Mm,
the thing about it was, I was still young. I was living my life.
Mm-hmm.
When they found out about each other, that's when all the hell for them came, because they realized that the man that they thought, because I was good to him,
Mm-hmm.
but I was still bad. You know what I'm saying? I was going back and forth, but the time that I gave them, the time that I was around them, it would seem like I was the perfect partner. You know what I'm saying? I was doing everything, helping, providing, leading, because one of them had other kids before me,
Mm-hmm.
and then one of them didn't.
Mm.
So it was, like I said, the first or the last. You know what I'm saying? So it was definitely hard trying to run two households, because eventually I had to make a choice. You know,
Right.
they put it out there, and unfortunately fortunately the choice came to me, because one of them ended up moving to a different state, and I chose not to go. My life was just starting. My son is 4 years old. There's no way that
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to leave him that young. So she ended up leaving, and I didn't have to make a choice, and my son with her ended up staying with me
Mm-hmm.
until she got settled and got her stuff together on her new journey, because
Mm-hmm.
there was no way you were taking my son that young away from me. No.
Mm-hmm.
So let's figure this out. Like, go get yourself situated, and when the time is right, then we'll talk about the care for him and what's in the best interest of him. And I think it was a wake up call, because again, you're seeing people that you care about, you're telling them that you care about them, and yet you out here double timing.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it was a wake up call for me. Again, at the time before everything broke loose, it was heaven. I was
Right.
listening. I was having the time of my life, and still dealing with other women at the same time. So it was
You dirty
it was
dog,
it
you.
was hectic. And then it's like you want to do right by these women, but you don't know how, because you never knew what love was.
Right.
So you don't understand that being at 24 and still young and still seeing the world. You don't understand that. So even in relationships, I was still in survival mode. I was
Right.
still trying to figure this out. I didn't listen. You think that, okay, I got one kid, I got this parenting shit down pat. Now, why this relationship can't get the same way? Why
Mm-hmm.
you can't have that same emphasis in a relationship?
Yeah.
And that was the crazy part about it, because my mama used to always ask me or tell me, "You're a good father. When you gonna grow up and be a good man?" And I said I thought a good father was a good man.
Mm.
And she used to always tell me, "No, it's a huge difference."
Two
You
different
know,
things. Mm-hmm.
like it's a huge difference. Like as a parent, and I had to ask myself this question throughout the years. You
Yeah.
think these murderers and robbers and drug dealers, they separated all that from their kids. They didn't want their kids to follow in the same path. And then, so at this time, all three of my kids are boys. That number four was a girl.
Mm.
So the perspective changed. Like, now you got a little girl walking around on this earth. That's where it hit me different, that, you know, you have to step up and do better. You know what I'm saying? If you ain't gonna do better for the boys as far as how you treat women, having a daughter will do that.
So did you stop cheating after your daughter was born?
You know what? I stopped getting into relationships after she was born.
Mm. Tell me
And what
more.
I
Tell
mean,
me
and what
about
I
that.
mean by that is I stopped leading women on into thinking that we were gonna be together, that we were gonna be happy, that we were gonna do things. And um my daughter's mom, who I have three children by, we were actually separated, but still dibbling and dabbling. So when my daughter came into the fold, it was okay. Are we gonna try to be a family right now? What are we doing? And then, again, when you've done so much dog ass shit in the world,
Mm-hmm.
that trust is chaotic. Like, I want to
Pause.
trust you. Go ahead.
Pause right there. Because I think you was finna just get ready to say it. When you say, when you, as the person, the aggressor will
Mm,
say, has done so much dog ass shit in the world,
mm.
are you trying to say that that affected your trust in others?
No. I think that affected the trust in the relationship as itself. She has trust
Okay.
issues and believing that I could actually settle down and, you know, just
Mm-hmm.
make it all about her thoroughly, not just when she's in my face, but when she's
Right.
not,
Mm-hmm.
So, and then I had trust issues that we could actually make this work and I won't screw this up. So it
Like
was a
it's a self
balance,
trust?
huh?
Like a self trust?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because the way that I saw it, man, I saw love. Um, my mom at that time had been married twice and divorced. My dad at that time had been married twice and divorced. So I've seen both sides of the spectrum. I've seen my dad go hard and do whatever he could for this woman. And then I've seen my mom bust her ass every day for 25 years and try to build something with a man who really wasn't ready. So I've seen both sides. So for me, not having that example of what love
Yeah.
really was, it was just like, yo, I don't want to screw this up. We got 2 kids. I'm not trying to screw this up, but I know if I don't at least give this a try, then the shoulda, coulda, woulda's come in effect. And nobody wants to live like that. So I tried. I
So
did.
wait,
I tried.
this the young lady who had your daughter, she
Mm,
was one of the two that you had gotten pregnant before?
yep.
Okay,
Yep.
this is the one that stayed.
Hmm. Yep.
Okay, got you.
And then we ended up not being on the same page a lot. And then we ended up having another kid.
Mm-hmm.
So it was just like, all right, cool. We keep having kids. It's got to be something here. It's got to be something here that we keep laying down, creating life. So it's got to be something. And at this time, um, I felt like it was time for me to get a change. At that time, I was going to so many funerals. I was seeing and visiting so many of my homies that was going to jail for long terms, and I would go to the county and visit them and see them. And,
Mm-hmm.
everybody in my circle, I'm watching them either get shot, die, or go to jail. So
Right.
it was like, it's time for me for a change. And the hardest decision that I ever made in my life was to move. I ended up leaving finally. Um, I left in 2016. So I had to do something different because I
Right.
wanted to give them a better life. And me and her, we tried to do the long distance thing,
Mm.
and it just didn't work. And then plus I had another woman um who was pregnant. So that was number 4. So she wasn't pregnant at the time, but in the midst of being on again and off again with baby mama number 3, I was traveling back and forth to Chicago to see what would become baby mama number 4. So we
Got
going
you.
back and forth, and then she ends up getting pregnant. And so the long distance relationship I had with baby mama 3 was over with because she found out about baby mama number 4.
Mm-hmm.
And here I am trying to make something work with baby mama number 4, because baby mama number 4 could have been the one, but and I like dealing with her because it was a challenge. So when you
Tell me
had
more
been
about that.
so I had been doing the same thing with baby mama number 3 for 7 years. We got 3 kids in 7 years. We had been doing the same thing over and over again. It wasn't challenging anymore. It wasn't something I felt I could look back and be like, yeah, we can make this work. Now it's like, all right, cool, we got a challenge. So
What
that
about her challenged you? When you say it was a challenge, just
um
tell me a little bit more about
the
that.
fact
Like,
that it wasn't as easy as everybody else, because with me, I'm gonna get what I want. And if you put me on restriction, that's cool. That's fine. That's your prerogative. That doesn't mean that I'm going to be on restriction. I'm just going to restrict myself just to you. Nah, I'm going to move around till I ain't on restriction. That's how I was living. And so, baby mama number 4, it wasn't through the door. I could get this through the door. With the
When
other
you
3,
say this, are
it
you
was through
talking
the
about
door.
cuckoo? Wait, we got to
Yeah,
be clear with the
yeah.
audience. That's what you're saying. You didn't
That's
just get
exactly
it.
what I'm saying. So it was through the door with them, and I'm not saying they easy because baby mama number 1 definitely made a dude wait all the way until she was getting ready to head off to school. So but I'm saying through the door, I have this thing where I'm not waiting 90 days, 60 days, and all that other. Nah, man, we got to see what's to it now. So, yeah, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. And shout out to the dudes that can, but I'm not doing it. At that time, I had a high sex drive. So me sitting around here waiting on you, nah, I'm gonna wait on you. Just cause we ain't fucking don't mean I ain't fucking.
Okay, it's a
Type of
difference. Okay, I heard you. No, I like that. That's a real spill. I like the way that you put that. So she had standards, is what you're saying. She had different standards for you.
Mm-hmm. And then we ended up having a child, then having another child, and then um at that time it wasn't. It was I think we was just having too many fights, too many arguments, and I felt like at that time because she wasn't working, she just had a baby, so everything was falling on me. And at that time, I ended up meeting a woman that I would eventually end up marrying.
This is baby mama number 5.
No, we didn't have any kids.
Okay.
But I had 7 children before I met her, and so she knew I had 7 children, but she also knew the kind of man that I set myself out to be dealing with her. Like I did a whole 360 when it came to her. Like the way that I carried myself, the way that I moved, how I acted, how I talked, how I approached her, everything was different. And at the time, my child's mother, number 4, was still living with me. So
And you in a whole nother relationship?
I was spending less time there and more time over here. And so
And did she know about the girl at home?
the girl knew about she knew about the girl at home, but the girl at home didn't know about her. And
so you married the sad chick?
I don't know. See, here's the thing. She was just my child's mother. But I kept in order to keep the peace, in order to keep the home happy, I made it seem like, yeah, we still together. It's you. It's all about us. But in all actuality, that wasn't the case. And she found that out.
No, this is what I'm asking. Hold on. You married the girl who knew you had a girlfriend at home.
She was just my child's mother. We wasn't together. But
this is what you told the girl on the outside, but you telling us that your child's mother.
She was just my child's mother. We wasn't together. The arguing and the fighting and the conflict was too much. But in order to keep the peace and keep my kids here, because you have this feeling where you keep having these arguments, I'm getting ready to leave and I'm taking my kids and I'm doing this. So you gotta maintain a certain kind of peace to, you gotta sell a couple of dreams in order to keep the peace going. And once she figured out what was going on, it was okay, I'm leaving. And so after she left, I ended up getting married. And so that's where the perfect partnership came in, because I felt like this is finally what I want. When you finally find someone who can make you sit down and act right, you gravitate towards that, because everybody comes across that one time in their life. You know what I'm saying? You've been married. They come around in their life that you feel like, oh yeah, this is what I want. I've been waiting my whole life for this. Does it always end that way? No. But for the moment that you have it and you feel it and it's love and you just never want to let it go. Oh man, it's a wonderful feeling. And
Yeah.
that is what I thought I was walking into, and I thought we were walking into, and the problem started coming in because old habits, they old habits can subside, but they never really truly die off until you kill them. Getting married don't stop the old habits from popping up. It
Sure
doesn't do
don't.
anything. The ring doesn't change. You know what I'm saying? Them habits, that temptation.
Say
It's
it
gonna
again. Wait
keep
a
in.
minute, kids. Say it again for the niggas in the
I'm
back. That
telling you,
ring,
I lived it for 4 years. I
that ring
thought
didn't change nothing.
that ring didn't change shit. That ring
Mm.
didn't change nothing. And I thought that it would, but if you don't put the work in behind that ring,
Yeah.
it's null and void. So the partnership was beautiful though in the beginning that got us to that point. Like,
Right.
you know what I'm saying? You don't, it was just a beautiful feeling. We were together, we were growing, we were building, we were maintaining each
Right.
other. We didn't have no secrets. We did the joint bank accounts, we did the
Yeah.
plans, we did the budgets, we did all of these things. We raised these children. She accepted that I had all these children and still loved me. And for me, that was good enough. But that wasn't enough to maintain it. So,
Not enough to
you know,
maintain.
that honeymoon phase was starting to die out. Once you get down to the nitty-gritty and you start realizing that all these kids are gonna be here in the summers, and you know what I'm saying, he's working a lot. Now I'm home, I'm dealing with these kids, and he's working. He's working to put a roof over our head, true enough. He's working to pay the bills, he's working to provide for us, true enough. But now quality time is dying down. And by the time I get home, she done been wore out by walking around with 7 kids plus her 2. So it was a lot. It was a lot. It was hard. And then you got all these households, because even though they cool with you and they cool with your wife and they get along, everybody get along, you still got, when these kids ain't with you in the summer, you still got 1, 2, 3, 4 other households to maintain or help maintain because your children are here. So now you over there helping put food in the house, and you over there
Right.
helping with bills, and you over there doing these things. You putting a strain on it because it's like our vacation times and our stuff that we trying to do and we
Yeah.
trying to accomplish, we can't accomplish because you putting over here and things like that. And my whole thing was, you knew all of this before you met me. It ain't like we just woke up, met each other, and got married. Now you knew what you were walking into.
Well,
Yeah.
Smash, I'll tell you what they tell us. Listen, you already know about law school. One
Yeah.
thing that they preach to us, and I think this applies, Smash, and I'm not taking no side. You my man, 100 grand, I'll bust any woman head for you. But I'm just saying that practice is different. Theory and practice are different. You can have a theory or an idea of how this is gonna go, and then when you get to practicing that stuff, it could be different. Once
I know.
I'm just saying.
Hell yeah. And then it started becoming, you still want your baby mamas. You still dealing with your baby mamas and things like that. And I used to have debates like, that's crazy because 2 of my children's mothers play for the other team right now. So, and been playing for the other team long before I got married. So it was like,
you knew that wasn't. So let me ask you this. I got 2 questions for you that I want to follow up. How many? Because this goes into the whole overall point of the show is, can a man with multiple children by multiple women be a good partner? So how many of your children's mother did not have any children until you? Like, how many of those women out of the 6, how many of them you were the first baby father?
1, the first one.
Okay, so pretty much after that, everybody else had kids.
Yep.
Okay, so now that you are established, we've already established that, like, you are successful. You know what I'm saying? You are doing great in life. How do you date now as a man? Do you come right out and you say, I have 6, I have 8 children?
Okay, so look, right. I used to come out with that, and then I've had women leave me mid-date. Like, nah, we ain't doing that. And now it's
Mid-date
like,
is crazy.
yeah, mid-date. But the thing about it is, you don't even know if you're gonna make it to see my kids.
Mm-hmm.
You don't even know that. Like,
True.
I don't let people meet my kids until 6 months in, unless I know we really, really serious. So a lot of times people don't be ready for what comes with that.
Mm.
Multiple kids. I had 7 children, and she went on a chance. And women will do that. Women will take a
Yeah,
chance on
they
you
will. If they really
if
like
you
you, they will.
yeah. And
They will.
I think with me and dealing with my children and how I carry myself as a father is more appealing to, because there are a lot of deadbeat ass dudes running around. There are a
There are
lot of deadbeat women running around. So
facts.
I think it's all about how you carry yourself with your children. Just to say, oh, I got 7 kids or 5 kids or 4 kids. Okay, cool. Do you take care of them?
Right.
Little do dudes know that shit is more attractive to real women than anything, than you just saying, yeah, I got my kids. Like, no bullshit. 3 of my kids live with me full time,
Mm-hmm.
away from their mamas full time. I
Mm-hmm.
take care of them. I'm up getting them to school, getting them ready. I'm up doing the things that I need to do to provide for them. And again, that in itself makes me a good partner, because I'm not afraid of hard work. I'm not afraid of, doing what I needed to do to make sure my kids and everybody else under my roof thrives and succeeds. So when I knew,
Mm.
I don't look at it, and listen, I don't look at it as, because they'll say you created a lot of broken homes. I disagree with that. I
Tell me
created
why.
I created a community of homes that my children can thrive in and play in, and can relate to and run to when everything is unsafe or there's something going on. Because at the end of the day, all my children's mothers are cool with each other. They hang out with each other. They support each other. My kids know each other. They're able to go to any one of these houses, any one of these 4 houses here, and be safe, be fed, be taken care of in case something ever happens to me. I know they'll be good. So I don't look
But do
at it
you?
as a broken home. I just created a community where, and what's better than one home when you got multiple homes where you can thrive at. So that's
Right.
how I looked at it.
No, and I think that there is definitely some truth to that. I think that here's my question to you in the terms of brokenness, right?
Mm.
Because I think that that term is tossed around a lot. I also think that if you as a mother receive, support, financial support from your baby's father, I don't think that you fall into the single mother category. That's just my own personal thoughts. I think that if you have a baby father that you can call on that helps you on a consistent basis, I don't think
Mm.
that you fall into the single mother category. I just don't,
Yeah.
right? But here's the brokenness part, and I want your thoughts on this as we get ready to wrap up.
Mm.
You cannot be everywhere at once.
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah.
impossible, right?
Mm.
And you mentioned earlier that some of your children may not live in the same city, right? How
Mm.
does a man navigate multiple households when he is not the head of these households anymore? So like now POV real
Mm.
quick, you're dating. You are
Mm.
dating. I know you said you have 3 of your children, so obviously we're talking about the ones. So you're dating, you have a life of your own. I'm sure that you know, you are dating women, things like that. How do you navigate that dynamic where there are multiple households, but you are not technically in these households? So how are
Mm.
you navigating that with your dating life?
Um, I think anybody that I've ever dealt with, because I
Mhm.
like mature women. I
What does that
can't.
mean, Smash?
I like
Tell the world what that
mature.
means.
I like mature women. So, uh, I'm not gonna lie. 40 and up is
Okay.
where I'm at. It's where I'm
Okay.
at, because
Okay.
they, in most cases, have their life together. They know what they want. When you dealing with anybody under that, they still young, they still seeing the world. And how I can relate to that, because that was me.
Okay.
I was still finding my way in the world when women were trying to be serious. So I can relate. I think for me, you have to understand that my children are a very, very, very big part of what I do. And um they come first. Until we married or some shit like that, they come first. So if that means I can't run and jump, hop, skip, jam when you need me, that's just what that means. Respect that or not, because I'm gonna be the same way, because I have a tendency of dating women who have children just
Yeah,
because
tell me about that.
I want us to be in the same space. I can't deal with a woman that doesn't have no children, because she will never understand me having 7 or even 2 or even 3 or even 4. So I tend to date women who already have children of their own. Let's go ahead on and be the Brady Bunch, the black version. I'm with it.
I love
I
that. And
think,
for my ladies out there, real quick, that don't think that you can have good men that earns money and that will
yeah,
help you and love you and take care of your kids.
yeah.
This is an example in the flesh,
I
not a
love
bum who
listen.
prefers women with children. I just want to say that
Yeah,
to my
I
ladies.
love kids and I love women with kids. So, sometimes we both understand that we don't have a lot of free time. So that free time that we do get means so much more, because
Okay.
we don't have it. Even if it's just us going to sit down at Golden Corral, just me and her, just eating, just sitting here, just talking, or Red Lobster or some shit like that, just us talking, no kids, just us. That means a lot more, because yes, you love your life and you love having kids, but sometimes we need that freedom. So I think with the dating, we always know that we're gonna make time for these kids, but we also gonna not get lost enough where we don't make time for ourselves. That's important in any dating range. That's dating, that's smashing, that's marriage, that's in whatever atmosphere relationship you're in. It's important to make time for self and that person, because then you get overwhelmed and you get a wandering eye because you ain't getting the time or the attention that you need. So I think in dating, I take my time and I actually know who I'm dating. So when things do get heavy, it ain't a surprise. We ain't shocked. Like we already talked about it. We are, like you
Yeah.
said, in theory, it sounds good until it's actually out there. You got a whole game plan. You know what I'm saying? In theory, getting in the ring with Mike Tyson seemed like a good idea because you're getting paid for it, until he punches you in the face. Now
It's a little different.
yeah, I ain't signed up for this. So I think in theory, you just gotta have a plan and you gotta execute. I think
I
that's
love
what
that.
being a good partner for me was just knowing that everybody ain't gonna play games with you. Everybody ain't gonna play. Everybody ain't got time for it. There are some serious people out here that will love the hell out of you if you love the hell out of them. So shit, that's what I went for. I'm going for. That's what I'm looking for. That's what I want. Love me so I can love you. I ain't got time to play around.
I
I ain't
love it.
I ain't got time for it in 2025. Maybe in 2011, 2012, something like that. I had all the time in the world. I'm telling
Yeah.
you, like I had all the time in the world. Like I was mannish, like mannish. And now it's like I'm still managed, but I ain't managed to that effect. Like I still want to be managed, but I just want to be managed with one person, if that makes sense.
That makes entire sense. Listen, Ken, you have answered the question of this show, which can a man with multiple baby mothers make a good partner? And I
I
thank you.
did it.
So
Yeah.
you did it. And not only that, you are currently doing it. And I know that one day soon, we're going to make somebody very, very happy. If not already, you probably
Facts.
already got that going. But I love you. Thank you for coming on this show. I appreciate you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, if you guys would please stick around. We got commercials coming up, and then we're going to end the show with the question of the week. Keep it locked. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, if you are just now tuning in here, you have just missed a wonderful, wonderful interview that I did with my friend, my homie, Big Smash, host and creator. I'll explain all this later podcast. It was a wonderful interview. And the question of this episode is, can a man with multiple baby mothers make a good partner? Okay, as we come and we bring this episode to a close, we're going to go ahead and go in with the question of the week. Now, those of you who are new here, question of the week is something that we do every week with the episode. These questions have transferred over from Heartbreak Hill Podcast, which is the former name of the show. We have a new email, therosegoldshow@gmail.com. So if you have questions that you would like to have read, feel free to go ahead and send those into the email, and we're shuffling them through. We also have a private Facebook group, okay, completely private. And that group is called We Gonna Talk About It, okay? That is a private Facebook group where I actually put these questions. These are real questions from real people straight from the email inbox, and I put them in the group, giving you a chance to answer them. And then every so often what I'll do is I'll go through the comments on the post in the Facebook group, and I'll read one of the comments out loud just to get a different perspective. Y'all don't have to hear me talk all the time and hear what I have to say. Join that Facebook group whenever you get a chance. So, question of the week. It comes from Sanalia from Newark, New Jersey. Hey, Rose, I want to know your thoughts around being with a man who has multiple baby mothers. I do have 2 baby dads myself, but I really want to date someone with either one or no baby mothers. LOL. I know that's selfish, but I go through a lot with the 2 baby dads I got, and I'm trying to start fresh if possible. Would you personally date a man with 3 or more baby mothers? Do you think it's realistic to not date a man with kids if you have kids? Do you think it's realistic in our age group to date men who do not have kids? Well, we've heard from Smash today that men with multiple children by multiple baby mothers can make a good partner. I know for my own sake that I have seen guys who have children from prior relationships be wonderful partners, okay? Would I date a guy that had more than one child with more than one mother? That depends. That's my answer to that. Me personally, it depends. It depends on how old those children are. It depends on the kind of relationship that they have with their mothers. Anybody that's mad at their baby moms, I'm not taking you serious. Okay, anybody that I've dated in the past, I'm sorry. If you had issues with your baby moms, and I'm not talking about, there's natural issues that come with co-parenting. In fact, that's one of the consequences of not being under the same roof as the other parent. There's friction in co-parent. You're not going to agree. But if I'm dating a guy and he has bad things to say about the mother of his children all the time, that's a red flag to me. I'm not going to date him. Or if I do date him, it's not going to be something serious. It'll be just for that moment or for that time till I'm done doing whatever it is I call myself doing at that phase of my life. So yes, I would date a guy, it depends. I would date a guy with multiple baby mothers and multiple children, but it depends on a lot of different factors. Some of those factors are how old are the children, what is the relationship like with the mothers of those children, how many baby mothers is it? Things like that are what I would consider. I would also consider who this man is character-wise. Does he take care of all of these children? What is his plans in life, and is he actively going towards those plans? Okay, those are just some of the things that I would consider. That's how I would answer that question. Okay, this question has been posted in the private Facebook group. We gonna talk about it. Make sure you join that group because I want to hear your thoughts. I love hearing thoughts of my listeners. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, he's and she's, in betweens. We are out of time today. Okay, and you could have been anywhere in the world, but you decided to be here for me. And I appreciate that more than you would ever know. And as always, listen, if you didn't hear nothing that I said, nothing that Big Smash said, if you didn't hear anything from this episode today, I want you to hear this. That betrayal, that backstabbing, that hurt, that shame, that embarrassment, that trauma that you went through, that was not your fault. You didn't know that they was going to do you like that. You didn't know that you were going to have to do things like that. You didn't know that you were going to be put in them type of situations. You really didn't know, okay? That's not your fault that those things happen. It's not your fault that those things happen, and it's never going to be your fault that those things happen. Your trauma is not your fault, but your healing those versions of yourself, healing that hurt, healing that shame, healing that trauma will always be your responsibility. Love you, family. Till next time.